Now, a lot of people have probably heard of SEO, but have you heard of BEO? So it's the same concept, and this is something that I've discovered during my journey to lose weight and maximize my health. So when I was at 294 pounds with a 6.6 A1C and I needed answers, I went on a journey to figure things out because the traditional information about dieting and exercise, I found that none of that stuff worked. And so in my journey, what I learned is that keto or low carb, high fat worked best for me. That's where I landed at. And so I used that to lose 22 pounds in my first 30 days of trying it. And it worked extremely well. And over time, what happened is I ended up losing over 100 pounds. But then I discovered something. There was more that I could do. So just like with SEO, body engine optimization is necessary as well. Because when you build a website and you put it online and you want it to rank in Google, you can't just build it and put it online and just leave it be. No, you have to study the metrics, understand what the performance is, and optimize it to make it perform better. I discovered the same thing with my body. So we get excited and I've lost over 100 pounds and all of that's fine and dandy. But is that it? And the answer is no. This was one of the things that I discovered, that my body had to continue to be optimized as well in order to maximize results. And so I've been through, there are three main diets available to people, three main ones, actually four if you can include the standard American diet. But you have the plant-based community, you have keto, and you also have carnivore. And so I've been through the plant-based. I've done that before. So I've looked into the plant-based diet. I've looked at it. I've done it before. It's been many years ago. And of course, it has been updated since then. And things have evolved in the plant-based community as well. I've looked at carnivore. I didn't attach myself to any one label, including keto. Low carb, high fat work, but I'm not really into labels. Okay. And so what I landed on was meat for protein density and bioavailability, and fermented vegetables for gut microbiome diversity. So meat gives you complete protein, creatine, B12, heme iron, building blocks. These are the building blocks for your body. And I say building blocks intentionally because that's exactly what it's doing. What I think is often missed is the fact that when you're consuming high processed food, and yes, you are full, but are you getting nutrition? There's a big difference between getting full and getting nutrition. And because you're not getting nutrition, guess what's happening? Your body starts to break down because it's going to get what it needs. It's a survival mechanism. So what's the first thing it's going to start breaking down? It's muscle. It's going to break down muscle to get the energy that it needs to keep functioning. So protein is giving you what you need to build instead of break down. And so the next step in my optimization was fermented vegetables. And the fermented vegetables gives you the gut environment to actually use those building blocks. So one is for fuel and the other is for engine efficiency. A 2021 Stanford clinical trial tested 36 adults for 10 weeks. The fermented food group increased gut microbiome diversity and decreased 19 inflammatory markers. The high fiber group, on the other hand, did neither of those. That surprised even the researchers. Fermentation breaks down the anti-nutritional compounds, phytates, tannins, lectins, oxalates, and increase bioavailability of iron, zinc, calcium, and B vitamins. And because of this, you're not actually just consuming foods, you're actually absorbing it. The bioavailability, which is extremely important and something that you do not get from highly processed foods. Now, lectins are a carbohydrate-binding protein in legumes, grains, nightshades that can irritate the gut lining. This is why a lot of people get leaky guts. Oxalates in spinach, beets, almonds bind to minerals and can form kidney stones, which is one of the things I used to get because guess what I love? Spinach. Now, you have people that'll say, or especially the plant based community, is that you cook it and you will reduce the oxalates and the lectins in the food, which is, by the way, guess what spinach has these lectins in it for? It's a defense mechanism because it cannot run away from prey like a deer. So it has a built in defense mechanism to deter being eaten. That's what it is. That's what these oxalates are. So they're bad for the human body. Now, people will say that, especially in the plant based community, that you just cook those out, which you can. You can reduce it. You can't cook it out. You can reduce it. But guess what? You also reduce? You also reduce the nutrition in the spinach because you get the most nutrition out of it the closer it is to its raw form. So you're robbing Peter by cooking it to pay Paul. So for me personally, it's just a non-starter. As much as I like spinach, I just had to give that up for my health because it's like having great content on your website, but your site speed is terrible. The content is there, but nobody can access it. Fermented foods are the site speed optimization for your gut. It makes everything else you eat better. I call it the center of Earth, your gut. It's the center of Earth. You have trillions of bacteria in your gut. And the healthier they are, the healthier you are. So I've started fermenting vegetables, and now I eat a lot of meat, eggs, and fermented vegetables. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. Meat and fermented vegetables is the next level of optimization. Why? Because it targets something that I just don't see enough of. There needs to be more information on it, and that is visceral fat. It's just one of those things that's not talked about a lot. But it is extremely important not only to lose weight, but the most important thing is for your health and longevity. We have to target visceral fat. So what is visceral fat? Visceral fat is not the fat that you can pinch. When you look in the mirror and you pinch your side, that's subcutaneous fat. Visceral fat accumulates deep inside your body, surrounding key organs like your heart, liver, kidney, intestines, pancreas. It's sometimes described as active fat because it releases hormones and other substances that promote inflammation throughout the body. It's like a sniper because most people don't realize how much they are carrying. You can't see it in the mirror. You need a diagnostic imaging to know the exact amount, but a waist of 40 inches or more for men or 35 inches for women is a strong indicator. So how does this fat cause so much damage to the body? Visceral fat infiltrated by M1 macrophages, which produces reactive oxygen species or free radicals, which release pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. In plain language, your visceral fat is literally generating free radicals, unstable molecules that damages your cells, your protein, your DNA. There is no good side to it. So it's not just sitting there. It's actively attacking you from the inside. The accumulation of visceral fat promotes the release of pro-oxidants, pro-inflammatory compounds, and reactive oxygen species. This is what creates the chronic low-grade inflammation that drives disease. That inflammation travels throughout your body, contributing to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes, all of which lead to cardiovascular disease. So it's a big problem. The inflammatory substance it releases accelerates atherosclerosis, the plaque buildup in the arteries. The fat around the heart sends these substances straight into the coronary blood vessels. So to protect your heart, you need to deal with this visceral fat because it's problematic. Optimize your body to focus on visceral fat. That's where I'm at because I am still learning the importance of this. So what causes it? Which just blew my mind. So cortisol, the stress hormone, specifically directs fat to be stored deep in the abdomen around the organs. It's not random. Your body is targeting that location specifically. Abdominal fat tissues has more cell per mass unit, higher blood flow, and more receptors than subcutaneous fat. So cortisol affects it disproportionately. So in the process of trying to understand this, now that I've discovered it, I came across a guy named Dr. Sean O'Mara. Dr. O'Mara, he's a character. He is a character for sure. Very intelligent guy. And I think he probably one of the leading advocates for understanding and dealing with visceral fat. This is his specialty. This is his lane. This is his niche. And so once I discovered it and I started watching his content, I learned another level of optimization that I'm going to tell you about here in a second. But Dr. O'Mara's team received a $1.2 million National Science Foundation grant and spent 7 years scanning 6,000 Americans with MRI, studying what actually eliminates visceral fat. So the guy's an expert in this field. And what I was stunned to hear him say is this: excessive distance running and durational exercise can actually make it harder to lose visceral fat. What? Sprinting, on the other hand, maximum intensity for a short distance or periods, targets visceral fat directly. And so that's the next level of optimization. So now with my daily diet of meat, eggs, mostly now. Of course, I stray away and I'll eat boiled eggs. That's fine with me as well. And many other things. But my core meal consists of meat, fermented vegetables, and sometimes in the morning I'll eat eggs. I also take kefir, which is part of the fermented kefir. I keep a live culture constantly going, my wife and I. And also L-Reuteri yogurt. So those are the main things that I consume every single day. Now, for people on a budget, because one of the things that I see people teaching is that it has to be grass-fed beef. Not everybody can afford grass-fed beef. But what I've discovered for myself, I can't tell anybody else what to do, and that is that if you're maintaining a good gut bacteria, you're focused on fermented foods, you do kefir, you do grass-fed beef cheese, you do L-Reuteri yogurt, you're actually assisting your gut bacteria, which is very important. So with that, if you decide, you know what, I can't afford grass-fed beef, but I can do clean chicken, organic pork, lamb, or grass-fed and grain-finished beef. If that's what you got to do, you just have to do what you have to do. It's a night and day difference to processed food. I would rather see you do that than processed foods, because processed foods are the problem. That's the enemy. So you may not get as much nutritional benefit from eating pork or chicken or grass-fed and grain-finished beef, but I would venture to say you'll get enough to make you healthy, and you will do light years better than processed foods. So don't let the affordability be the enemy of eating the right things to improve your health. Now, what I'll do is I'll go into some of the foods that I'm fermenting. Right now, I have a closet full of fermented vegetables, honey garlic, beets, turmeric, and many just other vegetables as well, so that I can incorporate that into my daily consumption. And so what I want to do is in the upcoming videos, just talk about that, talk about what I'm eating, and also talk about some of the benefits of sprinting, which is just mind-blowing. Just outright sprinting. And if you think about it, do you think our ancestors ever jogged? Millions of years ago, were they jogging? No, they had to sprint. They had to run, whether it was to catch food or to get away from predators. So it's not difficult to see why it's so important and the role that it has played in our evolution. So I hope that helps. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Like the video and subscribe to my channel. and we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.